Good morning. How are you? Eager novices gaining revenue. Eager novices gaining revenue of $145. How low of a bar is that? Is it also ENGR for engineering 145? Eager novices gaining revenue. Let's go through 20 base layer 7th grade education or up to the community college level of difficulty, which is 1 through 20 of eager novices gaining revenue. Let's play entrepreneurship. Hot Girl Entrepreneurship Club checking in for us being able to play entrepreneurship while we attempt to get our first $145. Texas Institute of Tech Sales or Eager Novices Gaining Revenue. Number one, vibe coding from a website to an app to selling 2 web pages. I'm not saying sell 2 websites, I'm saying sell 2 web pages. Why? Because we're going to vibe code up a ginormous amount of content. Can we sell 2 landing pages? That's where we go from vibe coding to vibrant entrepreneur. Yes, you have just joined a super fun thing, which is called Eager Novices Gaining Revenue. Number two, you've got an app idea. Well, how about generating revenue from app functionality prior to you vibe coding up an app? Why don't you get in-app functionality prior to you shipping an app to get approved in the Apple Play Store, Google Store, iPhone App Store? Because that's number two, which is launching an app at ACL where you're providing in-app functionality via Google, Gmail, or texting prior to people wanting to actually download your app. Number three, tech sales selling app functionality prior to downloading the app. Again, why? Because people think, oh, if I only had an app, then people would download it. People don't want to download your app. People are trying to never download any app. What do people need? They need your app functionality for you going from eager novices gaining revenue of $145 to number three, which if you're just joining, you're perfectly in time. They don't need to download an app. They need to gain in-app functionality via Gmail, in-app functionality in email, or even texting if you're so bold as to ask for a cell phone number of a person. You could ask for an app download. Instead, ask for an email address so that way you can provide in-app functionality. Let me give you an example of this. Four Seasons, they have an app. Their customers, they don't want to download another app. But what if you offered early check-in via Gmail or room upgrades via Gmail? Now you're offering in-app functionality prior to downloading the app. Would you like to request towels for your room so that way you don't have to pick up a phone? Yes, please. Do you have a Gmail? Oh, yeah, I definitely do. Well, you can have in-app functionality prior to downloading the Four Seasons app. How? By using our Gmail widget, which is you just add this functionality for would you like towels? Would you like to order food for your room? Would you like in-app functionality prior to you downloading the app? That's tech selling the app functionality. There's a complicated hashtag for this if you want to take note. It's hashtag CS183 appdl. So it's 183, CS like computer science, app, APP-DL, app download. Point number 4, networking beyond no need and no trust. So when you don't think you need that new Jackie Chan movie, or you don't think you need that Owen Wilson crossover, now you can say, well, are you sure you don't trust a Chinese cowboy to appear in your kung fu fighting movie? These things are where we're networking past no need and no trust. And if you're joking about the cowboy hat, what we're doing with the cowboy hat is we're trying to make it more approachable so that way we cross the chasm. What we're doing is we're taking on no trust. Why? Because kind of a lot of people trust a cowboy, and this is where you are trying to chip away at no trust. And people think that they don't need an Asian cowboy. Trust me, everybody needs an Asian cowboy, which is why I rock this 7 nights a week. Tech selling a book club, that would be number 5. Let's say you don't have a need or trust. How about activating a book that you own that you have not yet read? You probably have 1 or 2 of those laying around, right? And so now we're able to activate a book club that's me selling you an existing book. So we're technically selling an existing book, and we're going to edit that book to make that book better. Lecture 6, selling and purely selling 2 cups of lemonade, 2 hot dogs, 2 websites, 2 landing pages, not even an entire website, 2 landing pages. This is an example of how you can be an eager novice gaining revenue by selling a website. You can sell a website to a restaurant because it turns out most restaurants don't update their website based on their updated menu. It just turns out restaurants just are not equipped to do this. This is where you sell a website for 15 cheeseburgers. A restaurant's not going to pay you $500, but they will give you 18 cheeseburgers. And that's the payment that you initially will receive, because to a restaurant, the cheeseburgers aren't $500. To the restaurant, the cheeseburgers are less than $50. Now you've sold more than $145 worth of revenue, and now you feel more confident. That's selling, purely selling 0 to 2. Number 7, selling technology of selling 2 landing pages. I love how these lectures blend into one another. Why? Because when you're selling a landing page, what you're doing is you're taking their Instagram or social media post and you're summarizing it onto a landing page that you host for them. And you provide citation and attribution. And what are you selling it for? You're selling it for only upside, meaning you only get paid if their site, their viral post becomes even more viral based on your static web page. So you're selling the technology of selling 2 landing pages. Number 8, selling a nonprofit out of the goodness of your own heart. What are you doing? You're just promoting a youth at risk fundraiser for guardsmen. An example of this would be Derby Days. An example of this would be Tree Lot Party. An example of this would be the crab dinner, where it's unlimited crab and it's, I think, $500, and all of it goes to charity. So you're practicing selling and you're practicing making better an existing fundraiser. Number 9, selling the 23 days of OpenAI at ACL. By practicing entrepreneurship, you're desperately trying to get to $145 in revenue. Once you hit any dollar amount over $50, the confidence level that you feel is going to be amazing. You can even cold call me to have me buy a pen from you. That's the easy way. The regular way is you watch this video and you sell a sponsorship or you sell a person with a problem. The solution is hashtag 23 days of OpenAI at Austin City Limits. It correlates to day 1 through day 23 of October. What's the problem that you're solving? The problem that you're solving is that the 12 days of OpenAI at Southwest, the 12 days of OpenAI in December, rolls off my tongue, are broken. So you fix them in October with 23 days of OpenAI at South by Southwest. Number 10, you're going to sell 2 hot dogs, 2 slices of pizza, or give away hot dog bites or give away pizza bites doing food for lead generation. Remember before, you're trying to sell web pages, websites. So what you do is you give away bites of food, as in sampling, and you say, hey, are you interested in buying a website from me? So you're doing food for lead generation. And ideally, when you give away 25 pieces of food, you're going to sell 1, 2, or 3 of those customers because you're using food for lead generation. This is the same thing that Elon Musk does with giving away cookies and cupcakes at the mall when he's selling Tesla. This is the same thing as the idea of being in a mall to do food for lead generation. Food for lead generation. Number 11, selling at a trade show. What you're doing by going to a trade show is that you are networking with people who are potentially going to be interested in buying your industry specific thing. This is what you're doing when you're networking and trying to sell at a trade show. Number 12, selling at table 51. So, trade shows, 3 days, you get 8 people who rotate, so that way the trade show booth is open from 9 a.m. or 8 a.m., where they lure you in with free breakfast. Get it? That's food for lead gen. And the table goes until 6 o'clock. People who work these tables, they get exhausted because they're not used to standing all day and pitching their booth. What we're going to do by selling at a trade show, specifically table 51, is we are waiting for people to default. By day 3 of the conference, there will be open tables everywhere. That's where we come in. We wait for a default, and then we take over their table in their honor because they have fallen. And if you're drinking at night, you're going to default for sure on day number 4 of the conference. That's selling at table 51. That's lecture number 12. Selling lecture number 13 for eager novices gaining revenue is selling a VC, reverse VC, as a future VC. Why did I say VC so many times? Because in essence, that's what a biz dev tech salesperson matriculates to becoming, is a VC. So are you selling a VC on giving you $145 so that way you can conjure up a reverse VC event? What's a reverse VC event? You invite VCs, they show up, and that's how they pitch you. That's how hot people pitch you. They show up and they just stand there and say, okay, I'm selling you. Now sell me. That's how quickly the sales process stops. Hi, I'm a VC. That's their sales pitch, is they show up. Number 13, selling a VC, reverse VC. That was 13. This is going pretty quickly, right? half-baked is lecture number 14. Remember, we're trying to be eager novices gaining revenue, and there's no better way to gain revenue than to play an entrepreneurship game called half-baked. Entrepreneurship game, similar concept, 3/4 baked. Entrepreneurship game that's almost exactly half-baked and 3/4 baked is side hustle. So you're playing side hustle. How do you do it? You hear an idea, you change it ever so slightly, and now you practice pitching it. We can do it person to person. My cell phone number is everywhere. Number 15, ENGR-145 is Stanford Engineering, 4 books, 3 blog posts, and 2 videos. There's actually a legit class at Stanford, not called Eager Novices Gaining Revenue. It's actually called Technology Entrepreneurship 145. If you get $145 in revenue, you will have surpassed 90% of Stanford students taking this class at Stanford University legitimately. So are you leapfrogging Stanford? Kind of. And that's why we constantly do these reps of Engineering 145. This video is actually my 13th effort to do the same amount of video content over the last 12 days of Sunrise video series, which is similar to the 99 days of Christmas, which is similar to the 23 days of OpenAI at South by Southwest, which took place March 1 through March 23. So, lecture 15 is becoming better than Stanford engineering undergrads and grad students taking technology entrepreneurship. How? By somehow groveling, grappling, crawling your way past $140 in revenue. Number 16, be better at business development than Parker Lewis. Famous person who does biz dev, and you can be better than Parker Lewis with step 1, getting $145. When you become more potent than a popular famous person, I will anoint you better at biz dev and tech sales than this famous person. Is this going to be easy for you to do? It actually is. You just need to do step 1. Number 17, CS183D practice work on a cadaver. So, what is a cadaver? A cadaver is a business that the founders got distracted and then they no longer want to do that business. So what we do is we do tech sales and we operate on a cadaver. We make the cadaver slightly less dead. We get a lot of credit and accolades and then maybe end up in the Wall Street Journal. What's CS183D? It's a class that Stanford skipped teaching, which is tech sales. It's a class called distribution. Why is it the word distribution? Because it's a euphemism for sales and selling. Why is a euphemism required? Because recommending that people do tech sales is so painful that people take a personal brand hit as soon as you say you should go try to sell one thing. It's a good thing that I could care less about my personal brand. Why? Because I care about the most important thing, which is helping you duck bankruptcy. Number 18, sell at a trade show 5 months before the trade show. What? This is how everybody does it. They allocate $20,000 and they blow it all and they never get their $20,000 back, even by day number 2, 3, or 4 at the trade show. That's how everybody does it, which is why people say trade shows are a complete waste of money, right? It's because they didn't read Steve Blank's blog post, Startup Death Spiral. They didn't read Stephen Blank's other blog post, which is Trade Show Like You Mean It. They also didn't read Paul Graham, Do Things That Don't Scale. What are we talking about for lecture 18, which is selling at a trade show 5 months before the trade show? How does that even work? This is how it works. You study math class before math class. You don't just show up at math class and then now are faced with having to be better at math than the Chinese cowboy who's won at the trade show 5 months before the trade show. That's what you're doing, is you're winning at the trade show 5 months prior. Oh, that sounds like a lot of confidence, and I really don't know what you mean by that. Are you joking? No, I'm not joking. This is an example. Art Basel. It takes place in December. Today is March 30th. You can win Art Basel by April 30th, which is 5 months prior to December 2025 as of the recording of this video. You can win Art Basel in December, which is 6 months away. How? By doing one simple reverse VC event for VCs that are going to want a free vacation to Art Basel. You do it before April 30th. I would do it April 5 and April 6 in JW Marriott with me, Larry Chang. But that's just me getting my math work done before you even enter math class. If you're intimidated by trying to win a trade show 5 months prior, and you're intimidated by learning now, just now, via your first Chinese friend, the fact that Chinese people take math class before math class, don't be intimidated by this. Before I drain 3-point shots from the 3-point line for the NBA, what do I do before I drain them in a game? I practice executing 100 baskets in warm-ups. I don't understand how people are doing eager novices gaining revenue when you haven't even warmed up or tried to do one rep. Before throwing a football 75 yards, I'm going to throw a football 15 yards. And then after 10 at 15 yards, now I'm going to throw a football 40 yards. And then I'm going to jack the ball 75 yards in a game. Am I also doing equal and opposite? Yes. This is what's required to win at entrepreneurship, is you want to ace a trade show 5 months before the trade show. Let's say you're weak and you haven't yet hit the subscribe or like button because this is our first video together. No pressure, because what we can do is, if 5 months is not enough time for you, you can do 12 months. This is how 12 months works. You book next year's Super Bowl while you're located in this year's Super Bowl. For example, before you leave New Orleans, you make the money to pay for Santa Clara. After Santa Clara, February 8, 2026, you book Los Angeles from Santa Clara. So you've got 12 months to get return on investment. How specifically does this work for a tech conference? It works like this. We're at a tech conference, let's say we'll call it Nashville for Bitcoin. They just announced, hey, next year come to Bitcoin Las Vegas. I'm thinking I would like to get return on investment for this Four Seasons party in Nashville before we do the Four Seasons party in Las Vegas at the Mandalay Bay, which combine the same building as Four Seasons. Now we're winning at a trade show 12 months before the trade show actually executes. Why are we doing it this way? Because when you book a room 12 months in advance, it's definitively cheaper. I'm not going to have people stay in a $1,300 Four Seasons room, but guess what? A $100 room 2 elevator rides away at the Mandalay Bay in the same building, that feels like it makes a lot of financial sense. Making financial sense. I think that would be lecture 18. Lecture 19, retire on the job. When you get good at this, you end up being in flow state. Lecture 20 is also lecture 0, which is you want to cold call your first cold call. Is cold calling challenging? It's so debilitating that some people can't ever do it. What if you're to cold call the friendliest person that you've ever met? My cell phone number is everywhere. You can go ahead and sell me either a web page, a landing page, or sell me this pen, or sell me my own cowboy hat, or sell me one thing. That's cold calling, and this is the first time you've ever picked up the phone and cold called a stranger. This has been Eager Novices gaining revenue in our trek to go from 0 to $145. Hot Girl Entrepreneurship Club, how tight was that 26-minute video? That was iteration number 13 in going lectures 1 through 20. Let's go over some tech sales concepts that I think are going to help you guys greatly. 1, juxtaposing the word marketing and sales. They're not the same thing. One, marketing, you do from behind a screen and you never talk to people. Half the money's wasted and you're screwed. Sales is having to talk to users and almost being embarrassed when people yell at you. Number 2, macro. That's a problem. Why? Because organizational behavior, corporate strategy, and Accenture strategy, which is a big consulting firm, it gets super confusing. Macro, broken. What's the opposite? Micro via tech sales and doing things that don't scale, trying to sell one. Going from 0 to centicorn. Why is everybody trying to talk about $100 million when getting off of $0 is impossible? It turns out all of entrepreneurship knowledge is based at the $40 million level to the $2 billion level. There's actually no content that's geared towards going from $0 to $145, $0 to $10,000. That's why this is the opposite of 0 to unicorn. Unicorn's obviously $1 billion. Centicorn is obviously $100 million. Is this a shot at Alex Hormozi? No! He's just too Vanderbilt because he loves macro. No macro, let's do micro. Person-to-person cold outreach. When was the last time you attempted to talk to somebody that you had not yet previously met? That's person-to-person cold outreach. YC founders at work. Jessica Livingston wrote the book. This is the solution. Focus more on sales, not as much on marketing. Tech sales at industry conferences. Oh my God. Tech sales at industry conferences is lecture number 11. We covered that. That's awesome. Accenture coaches scale. Do things that don't scale, but have momentum. Hashtag DTTDSBHM. Sell something non-technical. Ooh, like a website? Ooh, like in-app functionality prior to downloading an app? That would be lecture number 2. We're just rolling right along. Sell something that is non-technical. Oh, avoiding startup death spiral. This is where you outsource VP sales work to a biz dev intern. This is actually worse, is that most co-founders outsource selling to a biz dev marketing intern. Yikes. Number 10, acing Alex Hormozi two-sided marketplace. Alex Hormozi wrote a genius book that we should write a sequel to. The book is called Gym Launch. What we're needing to do is Gym Launch Pad. How are we doing Gym Launch Pad? By acing Alex Hormozi's two-sided marketplace. What's the two-sided marketplace? 1 is selling down, 2 is selling up. There's a two-sided marketplace in selling gym memberships. We're selling to fat people who no longer want to be fat and are willing to pay thousands of dollars to no longer be fat. Why? Because they don't want to show up at their high school reunion fat. Therefore, they're willing to pay a lot of money. Alex Hormozi aced that. That is in the book Gym Launch. What's the two-sided marketplace? He can't sell all the fat people, so he's going to sell gym owners on adopting this new revenue style. That's the Alex Hormozi two-sided marketplace. Down to the gym users, micro, up to the gym owners, also micro. So he actually does tech sales. He just glosses over it because he doesn't want to tell you to do it because you're going to feel the pain. Right to repair, number 11. We're able to do external APIs, and we have a right to repair Alex Hormozi's book by calling his new book Gym Launchpad. Is chapter 15 of his book Launchpad? Yes. Is chapter 69 Faux Franchise? Yes. Are we selling Equinox gym memberships for $700? Also, yes. Having to go, number 12, from zero to national account manager, it's super hard. And this is what national account manager is. It's the super version of SDR, sales development rep, and account executive. So as a founder, you're needing to be B2B enterprise sales, national account manager work. Good luck doing that when you don't know how to do SDR work or account executive work. Going from zero to national account manager, it's actually impossible. That's what you're doing as a co-founder, is you are now having to do national account manager work. Good luck, because you skipped some steps. No need, no trust. Oh, we covered that in lecture number 4. Lecture 4. These notes are spot on. Mentorship in the tech sales process. This is gold. And also, you guys, good job staying. Because chapters 4 and 5 of the Challenger sale is where you are incorporating mentorship into the sales process. Chapter 6, you're including tailoring. Chapter 7 and 8 is about controlling the sale. This is Challenger sale. This is our effort that Matthew Dixon and Brent Adamson did. Chapter 4 and 5, teaching. Chapter 6, tailor. Chapter 7, control the sale. Solving the black hole of Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's all about organizational behavior and corporate strategy, and Accenture, we are getting away from that black and gold hole. Freemium, you're going to be tempted to give away stuff for free. You don't want to do that. You do want to give it away for free, but only after the model that you use is the reverse rebate model. Who gave me that? Mark McCormack, what they don't teach you at Harvard Business School. Great to hang out with you guys. Good job. Eager novices gaining revenue, comma, hashtag ENGR-145.